After a nearly 2-month search, news broke late Thursday night that Maria Gomez Perez, the 12-year-old Gainesville girl who had been missing since May 29th, was found safe out of state earlier this week. Hall County Sheriff Gerald Couch held a press conference this morning to update people on what they know so far.
Well, good morning. Thank you all for being here. Normally when I step up at the podium, sometimes as sheriff I have bad news to report, but that's not the case today. Actually, I come to you with some very great news. Maria Gomez Perez has been safe in Dover, Ohio, and she should be on her way home here to Gainesville with our investigators within the hour. Most of you in this room have been following Maria's case since she was first reported missing in late May, so I won't go through a detailed timeline of every nuance of our investigation, but I will say this. The last 8 weeks have been grueling for those on our investigative team. I want to thank them for their dedication and for putting their hearts and souls into bringing Maria back to our community. Since we are still in the process of interviewing Maria about the specifics of the last 8 weeks, we will not be able to share all details about her disappearance, but we will tell you what we can when we get that information. Maria was found yesterday in the company of a 31-year-old man, Antonio Augustin. He's a Guatemalan native, and he'd been living in northeastern Ohio. We believe Maria had been communicating for a time with Mr. Augustin via Facebook Messenger and some other online apps. Maria had indicated that she was unhappy and she wanted to leave home. We also know that she had been communicating with some other adult males online, telling them the same thing. That being said, let me be very clear on this. Maria is the victim in this case. And remember, she's 12 years old. So our investigation has determined that Mr. Augustin drove from his home in Ohio to Gainesville and picked up Maria on Wednesday, May the 29th. They traveled back to Ohio that same day and, to our knowledge, have been there ever since. The break in the case came last week when Maria contacted her father via Facebook Messenger. She had created a new Facebook page so she could reach out to him to tell him that she was okay and that she was not coming home. And she also asked him to stop looking for her. Mr. Gomez Alonzo told our investigators about the message, and members of our Special Investigations Unit obtained the IP address of the Facebook page and were able to find the phone number associated with that account. They were able to track the phone to a residence back in Dover, Ohio. And believing that this information was a credible lead to Maria's location, we sent 4 investigators from our Criminal Investigations Bureau to Dover this week. They were able to track the phone to the Dover City swimming pool, where they made visual contact with Maria and Mr. Augustin. When the two got into a vehicle and traveled to a nearby shopping center parking lot, our agents, along with members of the Tuscarawas County Sheriff's Office, followed them. They recovered Maria at the scene, and Mr. Augustin was arrested. Maria was taken to a local hospital for a wellness check, and as I said a moment ago, she will be coming back home here to Gainesville today. Mr. Augustin is in the custody of the Tuscarawas County Sheriff's Office in Ohio. The Hall County Sheriff's Office will also bring charges against Mr. Augustin after we consult with our local district attorney's office. Again, the safe recovery of Maria is great news. Our investigators and our law enforcement partners, including the GBI and the FBI, are to be commended. Our community has been constant with their support, and I appreciate all that has been done in the last 2 months. Our investigation is ongoing, and our hope is to share additional information in the days to come. I don't have a specific timeline for those additional details, but we'll give them out as soon as we can. I can't let this moment go without imploring our parents, grandparents, and guardians to watch over their children very closely. Technology is a wonderful thing. It helped us locate Maria, but also technology can also be used for evil. It's why Maria was able to leave Gainesville with a stranger and travel 9 hours away from home. So please know what your children are doing and who they're communicating with. They're our most vulnerable and our most valuable citizens, and it's our duty to take care of them. So thank you. Now I'll take a few questions.
Channel 2.
Yes, ma'am.
I wanted to know, what's this guy's history, Antonio, and how concerning is it that she was able to get in touch with him? And do you think that he's been with other children?
As far as his history, that's still to be determined. This is real fresh and ongoing. I look forward to having those same answers to those questions. And it is so easy these days for kids to get online and communicate with so many different people. And, you know, it's really scary to think that, you know, there are people out there that will prey on children. And you know, she sought to leave home, and this person came and got her.
Does she go back home now when she's done with her wellness check? And what was her reaction? How was she doing? And I know she didn't want to come home, so talk about that.
Well, it's one of those things where we will have to determine with the Department of Family and Children's Services in the court system what's in her best interest. So again, that's something that's still fresh, and we look to have an answer for you on that very soon. But everything will be in her best interest.
Sheriff Adam Murphy, Atlanta News First.
Yes, sir.
What at this time is Mr. Augustin charged with? What are
Well,
his charges?
well, of course, you know, he took a child, a 12-year-old child, across state lines. So he can face several felony charges. And again, we'll need to consult with the DA's office here to see what those additional charges will be here in Hall County and in Georgia. Of course, the Ohio authorities would have some other charges too, with interference with custody and so forth. So he could face several felonies in both states.
Sure.
Very serious.
How old is Mr. Augusto? How old is him?
How old is he? What?
The suspect.
Mr. the suspect.
Yes, he is. Yes.
How old is him? How old is him?
He is 31 years old, and he lives in a residence in Dover, Ohio. But other than that, I don't know any more information about him. They were still looking into that earlier this morning.
Sheriff Couch, Nick Watson, Hazel Times. Are there
Yes.
any other adults that are possibly facing charges or under suspicion by law enforcement?
Not to my knowledge, no. Not at this time. You know, as the case goes forward, you know, there could be. You know, I wouldn't rule that out, but at this moment, I don't know of any. No.
Sheriff, Tyler Finger with Fox 5. How lucky are you guys to be able to find her safely? Because in a lot of situations when 2 months pass by, this circumstance could have been totally different.
It could have been. You know, given the fact, you know, that she was 12 years old. I mean, she's a child. And to, you know, for her to be able to put herself out there, and there's folks that will prey, you know, on children, and that's what happened in this situation. So we're very fortunate that we were able to locate her. I'm going to tell you, our investigators did a tremendous job and stayed on this case night and day to locate her.
Sheriff,
And
do you know how
that's something
long-
we're very fortunate
Do you know
for.
how long the two had been communicating online?
For quite some time, I think. She had been communicating with some other individuals online and as well. So that's what, you know, trying to go through all those different communications, and that's why we went through several states and trying to locate who she may be with. And this one panned out, and we were very successful. So we're very thankful for that.
Ladies and gentlemen, about two more questions.
Yeah, two more. Yes.
Erica Murphy with 11 Alive News.
Yes,
I'm
ma'am.
hearing from some people that were engaged in helping to search for Maria
Mm-hmm.
that they were advised by the GBI to not to drive their own personal cars in coming to the press conference today or to do any searching for her, and that there was some kind of extortion involved with this case. Can you speak to that at all?
Extortion. I'm not familiar with that at all. No.
What do you,
That's news to me, so I don't. I
that's
hadn't heard
news
that.
to you.
Yeah.
What about the telling of people who were helping with the search and engaged with that not to drive their own personal cars because of their safety?
We haven't put out any kind of warning like that about driving their personal cars. I'm unfamiliar with that. Yeah.
Sheriff Couch, I know there's been a lot of people in Gainesville that have obviously put a lot of effort into trying to get the word out about Maria's disappearance. I know that there's been banners and, you know, billboards and all of that stuff, and I know that there were also some people who pitched in with the reward. What is your message just to the community of Gainesville after all the stuff that's been going on over the last couple of months?
Simple. Thank you. You know, we live in a very caring community, a very loving community. We've seen that time and time again when we've had tragedy that has happened here. And the way the community responded here was tremendous, and we're very thankful for that. You know, with the posters and the billboards and all the efforts that was put out there, I think it raises awareness that of how we do need to protect our children and look out for them, especially with, you know, internet safety. I can't stress that enough. And also, you know, it's we are a community that believes in prayer, and I do. And so I think all the prayers and things that people did helped us in this situation. So I'm very grateful.
What happens to the reward money now?
Well, with this, actually, Maria, her communication with her father led to her own location. So she will not be getting the reward, of course, but That was one thing that a lot of folks stepped forward. I had phone call after phone call from business leaders in town offering their support. And so again, it goes back to your question about the community. There was such an outpouring of love and concern, and that's very heartwarming. You don't see that a lot of parts of the country these days. So very fortunate. I'm sorry?
Do they get their money?
Well, actually, they pledged the money. We never collected it. It was one of those things where, if and when we determined that there was an individual that located her, then we would, call those individuals to write checks, basically, for that.
Sheriff, just
okay.
one more question, and that is, I'm also hearing that the department did not notify Maria's dad when you found her. You put it out on social media first. Can you speak to that?
That's incorrect.
That's incorrect.
That's incorrect. The lead investigator contacted her father last night, or yesterday, rather. So, yeah, that's incorrect. Okay. All right.
That's going to be it, guys. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And here with Art Gallegos, Gainesville community leader, in the aftermath of the press conference announcing that Maria Gomez Perez has been found safe after a 2-month search. And Art, just give me your immediate reaction and the reaction you've been getting from the community about Maria Gomez Perez being located safe.
Well, definitely got announced, through social media. So there's been a lot of people getting in contact or actually sharing the post that she was found, or located. And people are happy about it. We're happy about it. We were notified last night about it, and we were just astonished because, a lot of these cases you don't hear, this outcome. And yes, it was taking a long time. I was asking people to be patient, keep prayers going, but we're happy. Community's happy. It's a Good Friday. It's a Good Friday, and I'm thankful for all the agencies, from GBI, law enforcement, sheriff's department, and all the other agencies that have been involved. So we're just grateful. We're going to celebrate.
I know that you have been in some contact with Maria's father over the course of this. Have you had a chance to speak to him since this news has come out? And if so, what's his reaction been?
I spoke to him yesterday night, very vaguely, but this morning we had a little bit better conversation, and he's happy. He didn't have complete knowledge of it, but he did know something was happening and that she was found. But again, I guess it's going to hit him when he can just embrace his daughter.
So just kind of talk about the outpouring of support that the community's had. I know that we've talked before about all of the efforts that have been put forth via the reward, via all the signage that's been up around Gainesville. What has that been like to see play out? Amazing, because I think that this situation not only brought the community together, but it brought everyone together in saying, this is just not a child that is a 12-year-old Guatemalan girl from another country, but she's someone's daughter. She can be somebody's daughter, somebody's niece. She can be my daughter, my niece. And it was a true amazement to see all the efforts, all the posters, all the banners, everybody pulling together, people stepping up and doing the reward. As we heard through the press conference, how she was found. Basically she, contacted the dad through Messenger, Facebook, and we're just happy that the outcome is that, number one, she was located, found, and she's safe, and she's on her way home here to Hull County. I know that Sheriff Couch said that, obviously it sounded like Maria and the man that took her had been communicating online for some time. Sheriff Couch took some time to emphasize the importance of parents keeping up with what their kids are doing online and protecting them. What is your message to the community on that note in the aftermath of this?
Well, I'll just piggyback on that. I mean, social media is such a great tool, if you use it wisely. And as parents, we need to always know what our kids are doing, what web page are they getting, what apps they're downloading on their phones. We got to stay on top of these things, because evil is evil, and I'm sorry to put it that way, but it's you can either use it for good or for bad. So we have these tools that, we can utilize, but we need to make sure as parents that we know where our kids are going and what they're doing all the time.
Art Gallegos, I know we'll continue to keep up with the news up there in Ohio to see what comes out in the aftermath of this, but the important thing, I know Maria Gomez Perez is coming home. She is safe, and thank you for taking a few minutes to speak to us.
You're very welcome. Thank you so much.